So, to review, this is just getting your footage, which matters how you get it into your computer, editing it, and basically how you export it or get it out to wherever it needs to go. So, one of the things that's important in editing is just actually getting footage. So your source media, that's basically your raw, think of it as like your raw footage or whatever video that you've been given to edit. So that can be a memory card, that can be a flash drive, it could be something on tape, it could be a hard drive, any of these things. So in a lot of cases you're going to be doing importing. So importing is when you basically create a link to your video. So if you say put a SD card into the back of this computer and you open up Finder or Windows, I don't say not Explorer, I forgot the name of it, but for Windows when you look up all your different files and then you drag that into a program or you import it into a program. That's importing it. Now, and I've told you this, Final Cut Pro is the exception to this, is that when Final Cut Pro, you take some footage into the program, whether you just dragged it into the program or you imported it, it makes a copy. That's the default setting. That is the only editing program that I know of to date where that is the default. Every other editing program is just basically doing this. It's creating a link, or it tells the program a pathway to get to that footage. So that's also a reason why it may take, it may function slower when you're editing if you have it on a flash drive or whatever. It's because it's not traveling within the computer, it's traveling to that device, and the speed of that device could affect how quickly it processes whatever it is that you're editing. Anyhow, so linking audio and video information to a nonlinear editing program. So create a link, doesn't copy the source except in Final Cut Pro. And also, if you don't have that footage, then you can't work on that project. So there have been plenty of times where a student or someone has been working on a project, all their footage was on a flash drive or a hard drive, and they spend one day working on it, come back next day, don't have the hard drive, then they start seeing images like this. This is an old one from Final Cut Pro 6, but it's pretty much the same thing. It'll say media offline, media unavailable. This used to be clips and you could see like thumbnails of images, but you just get this. And in Final Cut Pro 10, pretty much the same thing, basically saying we don't have that footage, so you don't want that. So it is possible to come back from that, and once you plug in the flash drive, maybe close the program, open it back up again, it'll be able to find it. But if you don't have that flash drive, you can't work on anything. So the ways to avoid this. So one is copying the footage to the computer's hard drive. So if you are going to say work on, I don't know, Sony Vegas or something on your laptop at home, if you have the space, and then I say just copy those clips to that computer. So that way, whenever you're on that computer, you have it. If it's a laptop, wherever you take that laptop, you have that footage. You don't have to worry about taking a portable hard drive or a flash drive or whatever along with you. Just keep it on there. The other way, keep the when it says the project file and the source media file. What that means is when you create a project, it's almost like creating a recipe. So, and I've used this example before. So if you have the recipe and the ingredients together in the same flash drive, same hard drive, then if it's all in the same folder and it's all linked together and whatnot, basically makes it easier for the program to find that file. Because sometimes this will happen with other editing programs aside from Final Cut Pro 10 is that you have that footage, but it just lost the location. So you kind of have to remind it where that footage was. So this is just to keep you from having problems that are an easy fix, but they can cause you a lot of problems if you don't know how to deal with it. So, and yeah, you don't want to lose your footage. That used to be almost an epidemic around here, especially with other versions of Final Cut. Well, when we had the previous versions of Final Cut, yeah, students wouldn't listen to me, and yeah, they say, hey, I lost my footage. So, or sometimes they wouldn't be able to find their projects. Anyhow, moving on. So, like I said before, editing, it isn't just once you get it into the program, okay, now I'm editing. Now I'm going to start making decisions as to, what's worth being in this video or what's worth being on this project. So you need to make that decision long before, you drag something down to a timeline and then you decide, oh, I need to pull out the razor blade tool. No. You need to know that way before. So editing, begins the moment you start shooting. Even when you decide not to shoot something, you're still editing because you're deciding, okay, this is probably not going to make it into the, or I know that this isn't going to make it into the project. So in a sense, you've already kind of edited and made a decision to make your editing process easier. So being selective with what you shoot, it'll make your whole process go faster. So for starters, you'll need less tape, or you can use a smaller SD card. So I don't know how many of you in here have bought an SD card? Any size, micro, mini, normal SD card? Raise your hand if you've bought an SD card before. Okay. Raise your hand if you've bought a flash drive before. Okay. Or one last thing. Raise your hand if you've bought any type of portable hard drive or solid state drive or anything like that. Okay. All right. Just asking. So you'll know, at least from buying a flash drive, that the bigger the flash drive, the more money it costs. Am I right? Also, you've got to have a certain speed. Well, they also charge for the speeds, but basically, the bigger your flash drive, the more money it costs. So, but let's just say you don't want to spend, or I don't know, X amount of dollars on this gigantic flash drive, or I don't know, you don't have money for, I don't know, a 500 gigabyte SD card. So you got money for like a 30 gigabyte SD card. Anyway, if you're shooting less, then you don't have to have that. So sometimes people may, buy just the biggest whatever, and it's like, you really don't need that if you're, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, shooting somebody's birthday party, okay? Little kid's birthday party. Let's just say, let's say it's 30 minutes, even though it's not going to be 30 minutes. You're, getting some friend asks you to shoot some stuff. You shoot singing. You shoot maybe party games. Maybe somebody saying happy birthday, whatever. Okay, and it's a 30-minute thing. You don't need to buy. Really, you could probably shoot all of that stuff. A 16 gigabyte SD card will probably, for that 30 minutes, even if you're recording the entire 30 minutes, that's 16 gig. Depending on the resolution, if you're shooting in 4K, that thing is gone. But if you're shooting in 1080, then yeah, you'll probably be fine. Now, if you're recording, if you're recording, every single second and a bunch of stuff afterwards, and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, you're gonna go over that 16 gigs, and then you may need to have bought a 32 gigabyte or whatever. So you guys are like, okay, why are you talking all this SD card stuff? Well, at some point in this program, you will be buying SD cards for your projects. Not in this class. This class is primarily just editing. But when you get into TV production, TV practicum, what else? Electronic field production. Yeah, you're going to be shooting stuff, and in those classes, yeah, really, a 16 gigabyte SD card will do you just fine. So you don't have to worry about hundreds of gigs. You're not going to need that for how small the projects are. But anyway, yeah, you don't have to have a bigger SD card, or if you're low on space, then you're still okay. So if you have a smaller SD card, you'll most likely be okay. So I don't know if you've ever, I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to think of an analogy. Like, you got an iPhone and you want to record something, but you're low on space, and then it's like, crap, I got to go back and delete something, or delete an app or a program or clean up or whatever. So yeah, and sometimes you're thinking, man, you go through your phone and your gallery, and it's like, why did I even record that? Why did I even take these pictures? I got to go ahead and delete that. Well, yeah, if you never took those pictures, or took those videos that you didn't, realize you weren't going to care about in the first place, then you'd have had that space later on to record whatever it was that really mattered. So, also, when you're selective on what you shoot, you can spend less time on the scene, or maybe less time at a shoot. So that may mean, say for news, yeah, you want your B-roll, you want your interviews and all that kind of stuff, but at some point you know that you got it. Okay, I don't need any other stuff, and yeah, it's better safe than sorry. Yeah, get the better safe than sorry, but after that, you probably won't need any more. So the reason why that's important is because, say if you're working in news and you gotta record a bunch of things during a day. Okay, you got a day, I don't know, maybe 3 different stories you gotta shoot. You can't be spending way too long trying to make, I don't know, a movie out of a 90-second news story. So yeah, that'll help you. Also, your batteries. Shooting consumes your batteries. So if you only got one battery, or your battery's low, then be selective with what you shoot. Also, less footage to log. So if you're working on a really long project, or just a project that may take you a few days, you're not going to remember everything that you shoot. Okay? Now, and you're still going to need to log, but it can be a pain going through, I don't know, an hour's worth of footage when you could have only had 30 minutes worth of footage. And logging, I'll get into more detail later, is just basically writing a description of your shots, basically. Also, faster editing decisions. So when you have less footage to work with, then you remember more of what you have, and two, if you only have 2 takes of somebody saying, I don't know, happy birthday, then you only have to look through those 2 takes, or some birthday wish. Maybe somebody messed up, said it twice, they messed up a little bit this time and a little bit the second time, you got to pick the best one, okay? Well, then you only have to look through that twice, or you only have to look at those 2 takes. Now, if you got 5 of them, guess what you're going to do? You're probably going to look through all 5 takes if you didn't make a mental record of, okay, I think number 4 was the better one. So if you have all these takes and all these, you shot something 5 times, and I'm not saying, like, if you messed up and you did a crap job shooting it, the first 4 times, then yeah, I wouldn't consider that excessive. But if you probably got 2 of them, then 2 good ones, then yeah, move on to the next thing that you were going to shoot. So anyway, the point is, when you have all that footage, you're looking through that. You're probably, if you're trying to do a decent job, you're probably going to look through that. Or think about, I don't know, you go into some type of event or something, and I don't know, let's just, Halloween costume or something. Basically, if okay, so let's say it's you got to wear a red shirt on this particular day at school, at work, whatever. Okay, if you've got 5 red shirts, then guess what? You're gonna look at all 5 of those red shirts and then make a decision. If you only got 2 red shirts, you're gonna make that decision a whole lot faster because it's like, okay, I'm either gonna go with this one or this one. You kind of get what I'm saying? All right. So, also less hard drive space. When you are, putting that footage on the computer, you're using up the space on your computer, and eventually that space is gonna run out, or that space on your hard drive is gonna run out. So, I mean, you notice that I think there's what, a terabyte iPhone coming out any day now. That's kind of crazy. But I don't think you would need a terabyte if you deleting some of the being more selective with your stuff. But whatever. Yeah, at some point, when you get into editing video, you're going to be buying hard drives and also doing a lot of deleting. Also, a shorter runtime. If you're working on a project and it's kind of loose on how long it needs to be, maybe you have, it can be between 5 and 10 minutes, or it can be, between 10 and 14 minutes. You're going to have a tendency to go for that longer time, or that higher limit of whatever that video is going to be if you have all this footage. Because something that tends to happen, especially if you shot the footage yourself, you'll be shooting something and you're like, oh man, I really like this, or I really liked how that shot looked. Okay, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but if you have a bunch of those, sometimes you get emotionally attached to the stuff that you did. So maybe it's like, man, I definitely want to put it in there. It kind of quite doesn't match, but it's so artistic or whatever, and that and 4 other shots like that end up in a project where it really wasn't necessary, but you shot it, so, and you like it, so you want to do something with it. So, which makes your time longer. And exporting time or sharing time. When what we did on last week, that was pretty quick. But if you're doing a project, usually export time is about 3 times longer than whatever the project was. So if you're doing if you got a 30-minute project and you're trying to export, it's probably going to take you about at least 90 minutes to export that thing. Also, smaller output file. How many of you have ever uploaded anything to YouTube or some type of social media thing? I'm not talking about shooting live and it just being there. I mean, actually shoot something, and then upload it. How many of you have ever uploaded? Okay. I don't know. The speed, at least at the here in the faculty offices, we have faster internet speed, so it's kind of super duper fast. But pretty much anywhere else that I've been, it takes a while. I don't know. Are any of you satisfied with your upload speed from whenever you upload it to whatever, YouTube, Facebook? Yeah, I don't like it. So I make anything that I upload, depending on if it's for me or for somebody else, I try to make it smaller. And I'll be honest with you, I don't upload in 1080. I'll do a project in 720 just because if I know that, say, people are going to be watching it on their phones, they don't need 4K, they don't need 1080. I'll just do it in 720. Keep my file size smaller, make the upload go faster, because I don't want to be tying up my computer, and be worried about, okay, do I need to turn the Wi-Fi off my phone while I'm uploading so this thing can go faster? So yeah, I don't know. Question, one of you raise your hand about uploading. What's something that you uploaded and about how long did it take? If you don't mind sharing.
I uploaded on YouTube. It took like 20, 30 minutes to upload.
Okay. That's not bad. I'm guessing your footage, 20, 30 minutes. Let me guess, it was about 80 megabytes.
Yeah, I heard that.
It was what?
I said, yeah, you're right.
That's almost to be an Carnival show. Anyway, Yeah, the longest YouTube upload I ever had was I uploaded 3 gigs and it took me 12 hours. That was, yeah, 12 hours. So I've been scarred by long upload speeds. So that was good grief.
Was it like your resolution too?
Actually, I think the resolution, it was only like maybe, it wasn't anything 4K. It was 720, 1080 at the most, but this was back in like 2012. So internet's upload speeds, I would like to say were a lot slower then, but depending on who you with, you can still have some bad upload speeds. So anyway, yeah, what was that? I was with AT&T at the time.
Yeah.
So also, yeah, so that smaller output file, you can put it on more stuff, you can upload it faster, it's just less of a headache because you don't want to spend, 80 megabytes, that thing is probably like this short, right? You don't want to spend 30 minutes on that, especially, I don't know, it could be homework or whatever. Anyway, people don't want to, I don't want to do that, you don't want to do that either. Less compression. So if you have a smaller file because you made a lot of decisions and narrowed down what you edited, well then eventually, how can I put it? Say Blu-rays and DVDs, they have a file size limit. Like the average DVD is 4.7 gigs. So if you have a project that's naturally 4 gigs. You have a project that's naturally 4 gigs, then you can get the full resolution. Okay. Blu-rays are about 8 gigs. Okay. So if you have a project that's say 7 gigs, you can go 1080 and you'd be fine. Okay. Now if you have a project that is 12 gigs, now you can make it fit on that disk, but what you have to do is you got to re-export it at a smaller size, and what's that going to do? It's going to lower your resolution. So if it's something that you want, that's going to be shown, on a big screen, you don't want to do that. So one way that you can do, get past that is, if your project is shorter. So I know, yeah. So one easy way to, well, I'll get to that some other time. So less compression. Also, you can have your stuff at a higher video quality. So that's that. Back to the little roadmap. So we were talking about, we're still in this area. So it's like, man, we've been talking for a while. Yeah. There's a lot to say on this. So we haven't gotten to getting it into the computer yet. So some more about shooting the video. So sometimes the way that you shoot something determines how it can be edited. So editing is determined by the way the material shot. So let's say let's say you shoot somebody and I don't know, you have them, you have about a medium shot, okay? So about from the waist up, okay? But there, for some reason, I don't know, maybe you didn't know this or whatever, they talk about, I don't know, maybe something on their pants or their shoes. Well, because you've got that shot framed for a medium shot, you've missed that. So maybe you have to go and post and or shoot their pants or their shoes later, or maybe you just miss it because of that editing. Turn out the shot. Yeah, if you had a long shot, from head to toe, you would have seen it, or maybe you could have punched in post and made that shot a little bit and zoomed in, basically enlarge the size of the image. So yeah, trying to think of another thing. Editing term, by the way, material shot. If it's actually easier. I'm going to go down to the second one. I think it'll help explain the first. So if you know how you want to edit it, then you're going to shoot it a certain way. So let's just say, easy example, chroma key. Okay, if you're going to shoot something in chroma key, if I'm shooting somebody, in chroma, first thing I tell them is that, hey, when we have this shoot on whatever day, don't wear green. So I know that's one thing. Also, I may, if it's a newscast, we do newscasts here, or we have in the past, and there's a thing called an over-the-shoulder shot, or an OTS shot, or a key shot. What that means is the anchor is speaking on camera, and there's an image that's superimposed over their shoulder. Now, if I have them framed perfectly centered, then if I try to put that image over their shoulder, and it's perfectly centered and it's kind of a tight shot, then I don't have enough space over the shoulder to put that image in there. So if I know that I want to edit it a certain way, then I'm going to shoot things a certain way. You guys kind of get that? Okay. And we will be going over, pad, cutaway, ambient sound, slate framing. This is just letting you know where we are going, and we are going there now. So, what's pad? Oh, and let me explain something to you. This shooting for post-production, these are things that you can do that'll help your editing, and it'll make it just easier for you. And sometimes, if you don't do these things, you'll spend a lot of time going through a bunch of takes that you don't need to go through. You'll have to, maybe cut off someone's words, or in the middle of their talking, and you won't really have much choice about it because that's just what you were left with. Let's get started. So, pad. What pad is when you have a little bit of video at the beginning of a take and a little bit of video at the end of a take. The reason why you do that is because, well, for starters, when you're doing a take, you're doing a countdown. You're doing a 5, 4, 3. You don't say 2, you don't say 1, and then you point at the person. The reason why you don't say 2 and you don't say 1 is because if that person jumps the gun and you're saying 1 and they start talking, then there's not hardly any time between you speaking and them speaking, and it's going to be harder to cut yourself out. Also, if you want to fade up or do some type of transition into it, then guess what? You may be heard, or at least audio-wise, you may be heard, and it's kind of harder to edit around that. So you have that pad a few seconds before. So you do a 5, 4, 3, and while you're doing they're just looking and breathing, and then they begin. So that gives you some space. So if you're going from one person speaking to another person speaking to another person speaking, you're making cuts, or maybe you want to do some type of slide video transition, then that pad helps you. Okay. Also, at the end, when I'm working with people, I tell them, when you get done speaking with whatever your speaking part is, just wait a few seconds. Don't say, oh, and that's how this changed my life. Whew, I'm so happy this is over. Take 15 was murder, blah 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 blah. No. After you get, and that's how that changed my life. And then you can sigh of relief or whatever. And no, they don't count down with their fingers or anything, but I'll give them a countdown behind the camera and just let them know, hey, we're done. The reason why you do that is because if you don't, kind of like the stuff on the front end, when they get done speaking, you still need a second or two to fade to black, to do some type of transition, whatever. But if they immediately say something else right after they get done speaking, then I still got to make that cut right after they speak, and it's going to seem pretty abrupt. So that's why you have pad. Cutaways. So cutaways are shots that are related to what's going on, and it kind of helps with, how can I put it? How many of you have ever seen, somebody's own video recording, and it's a long video recording, whatever it is, it's anything. And anyone showing you something, and mind sharing what you saw?
I had a Zoom meeting that was pre-recorded, so they just videotaped the entire.
And was this and during the Zoom thing, did you just see the person themselves and that was it?
Well, I seen them and their screen.
Okay. Oh,
Like kind of like a string.
gotcha. Did they go to their screen? Did they like blow it up full screen, or did they, or did they ever? How do I put it? Yeah, did they blow it up full screen to where you saw the screen, but didn't see them, or was it were they in the lower
They were
left
like
hand?
the lower right corner.
That sounds a little bit like my style. Not quite exactly. All right. Well, let me put it this way. Let's say we were shooting a scene. Thank you for sharing. But yeah, in a way that could kind of be used as code shot. But let's say we're doing a scene about students taking a test, okay? And it's a long test, and we just have a camera. Let's pretend someone else is shooting it. You can shoot it because you can do a better job. So somebody's recording, and they've got shots of this, shots of this person doing this, shots of another person, and it's kind of shaky. It's not that good, and I don't know. That's all you got. Okay. Now, a way that we can make that better is, say if we have, I don't know, maybe a cutaway shot of a clock. So we can show one person taking a test, cutaway shot of a clock, maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes later, then show, another person. Basically just showing, okay, time has passed and people are still taking this test. Also, cutaways help, let's say, an example I often use is in comedy shows, you'll see cutaway shots quite a lot. And I don't know if you guys know this, but most comedy specials are edited. It's not just, it's in front of a studio, not studio, in front of an audience, but it's sometimes jokes get edited out, or sometimes they use maybe part of a performance from one location as opposed to another location. Anyway, the point is, usually you'll see a cutaway shot of somebody laughing at a joke. So that doesn't mean that person was laughing at that particular joke. It just means that person was laughing during that performance. So there's going to be, of course, a camera on the performer, but there's also going to be a camera getting shots of the audience. So the reason for that is so that it breaks up. You want to see the person, telling jokes, but you also want to see people laughing. Maybe if they, or maybe, I was going to say, no, not a joke about a specific person or anything, but I don't know, maybe it's a joke about guys, and you see, a cutaway, a shot that happens to be of a guy laughing. So it breaks up the monotony of just seeing the same thing over and over again. But also, it can cover up mistakes. So something that a lot of YouTubers don't do is cutaway shots. This YouTube style that you see, okay, I'm over. YouTube style that you see, usually what happens, somebody makes a mistake or whatever, and they just do like a jump cut to later on in another take of them saying something. Have you guys seen that? Okay. Yeah, it's a fast way, and it's almost like a YouTube style. But if this was, say, some professional video with a spokesperson and they messed up, you wouldn't see that. What you would see is, you might see a cutaway shot of maybe whatever it is that they were talking about, and then you'll see, them back on camera talking about whatever else. So that it kind of covers up those rough parts. Also, it can cover, cutaways can, sometimes when there's just a long lull in something, let's just say, I don't know, a wedding, and for some reason it takes, forever, the whole bridal party goes, and then the bride for some reason was 5 minutes later. Guess what? You can just, show a shot of, I don't know, the family of the bride, looking happy, and then cut to the bride walking down the aisle. Even though it may have been 5 minutes, between, the last person of the bridal party and the bride, coming down the aisle. I gotta stop now. Sorry. So, we'll pick back up on this next Monday. So the rest of the week is labs. So yeah. Thanks for coming. Oh, yeah, I did tell you that. Yeah, the linear versus nonlinear, that's online. Also, I think I can't remember. I put something else online for you guys. It may have been the handouts for this. I'm not certain. Oh, this is online also?
This is online.
Okay.
Another linear, there's two of them.
Okay. And you'll notice on that the video lecture for linear versus nonlinear, that was shot like a year ago. So you should be able to tell because I don't have hair in that video. So anything about any date specific stuff, if I say anything about okay, next Wednesday we'll be doing this, ignore that. Just listen to the lesson. I don't think there's anything like that in there, but if there is, yeah. If I say, test on such and such, ignore that. So that's it. Glad to see you guys.
One other question.
Yes.
Homework that's on Friday, so like, it's not a specific video that we just have to upload. It's just.
Yeah, you can use pretty much. I prefer the sample clips, so that way I know those videos because I've been using them for a while. But like if you have something, say, I don't know, shot from your phone, then you could have done it exactly 10 seconds and just press stop record and just give that to me. It's like it's 10 seconds, but so yeah, I prefer you use the sample clips since I know none of those are 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have a flash drive. Okay. So yeah, I think you're good.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Is it okay if I do my homework real quick? Just quick download.
I think it should be okay, but wait for about maybe. Well, okay, I say do it now, but I got a class at 12.
Okay.
So I mean, but they don't really care what computer they use because it's more lecture than anything.
Is TV production, if it's set up just like this one, it's like lecture mode and live and everything prior?
No.
Okay, it's every,
Yeah.
okay.
So, yeah, like maybe if we're doing equipment exams, then maybe certain people come on certain days, but for the most part, it's every day.
Okay.
Everybody, every day. Oh, I need to stop recording. I always do that. Did I?